Hey, folks, Bob Dolebot here, or also known as Bob Jones. I'm here with the creator, writer, and artist, correct?
Oh wait, all creative process, all me.
All you?
Mm.
Alright. Uh, Luis Enrique Gomes, am I saying
Yeah,
that
oh,
correct?
yeah, it's Gomez. Yeah,
Gomez, sorry. Uh,
no worries.
so, like, bad as it sounds, a horrible analogy, but Gomez Adams from the
Nope.
Adams Family?
No, it's with an S. So is that what it said in his name? Or yeah, anyway, yeah, it's the same name.
Alright. Well, let's start this shebang off. So, what was your inspiration for Damned Nation of the West?
There's a document here. I'm just trying to open it. It's just a little slow. Sorry. Uh, 1 second.
Not a problem. Gives me a chance to have some fun to chat. That's right, Gorgonite. The damn chemicals making our comic book characters gay, turning them all gay in the most horrible ways. How you doing, Skinny Ninja? Nice to meet
Oh,
you.
hey Matt.
Friend of yours, I take it?
Oh yeah, I've been on his live stream a couple of times. Yeah, pretty nice guy.
Oh, word. Gorgonite's one of my regular viewers, so I understand the feeling. That's why he went to immediate Bob Jones joke. By the way, Gorgonite, watch out for that Renfamous. She's a new thing. You gotta watch out for her. She's one of those interdimensional she-beasts that even the reticuloids fear. Because they know she will destroy them. But, do you still need a couple more minutes, dude? Because I will gladly have some more fun to chat.
Yeah, this my computer's been really slow, but if you don't mind.
Oh, do your thing. I'm always down to have some fun with my viewers, especially when I decide, or not so much decide, but especially when it comes to being Bob Jones. The one, the only Bob Jones. The fighter of the soy. The defeater of the reticuloids someday. And now the warner of the interdimensional beings led by Renfamous. The latest threat that dares to hurt comic book kind. Yes, and how you doing, model? Glad to see another warrior against the soy has joined us. And yes, you are correct, Gorgonat. The dude in the shitty wig with resting Crypt Keeper face. I like that. But unfortunately, that resting Crypt Keeper, that interdimensional being, has gained, I guess you could say, the audience of people within the industry. It's because the reticuloids fear. Therefore, they wish to side with her. It's how it is, unfortunately. Now, what I want you folks to do while you're waiting, while I'm waiting, I want you to go to Indiegogo and I want you to check out the damn Nation of the West. Let's help this fine warrior against the soy reach his goal. Get his comic book that is a horror published. I like that. Green milk cures the soy addiction. I'm going to have to remember that. Too bad it didn't work on Luke Skywalker. And I haven't even seen that movie. I just know it. Still fighting over there?
I think it'll stop lagging, but oh, God's sake. It's just the Microsoft Word with the not responding thing.
Gotcha. But, alright. I guess I'll talk about some of the news within comics today, even though there really hasn't been any news. Just a bunch of usual stuff. But I can say this. I do not intend to ever watch that movie, Gorgonite. unless I hit 1,000 subs, and then I will gladly brave that movie for you, all of you, so I can make fun of it. But I will say this: I did have some good news. I got my Alterna comics in today, and I've already read one of them, and it was glorious. I shall soon do some reviews, some Alterna reviews, brought to you by Bob Jones, so I can introduce you all to some good soy-free comics. The whole Bert and Ernie situation is a bit funny. They're Muppets. They're puppets. They're not people. They were created to show that different people of different, I guess you could say, personalities can live together. Kind of like the Odd Couple, but not nearly as funny and meant for kids. They cannot be gay, but if that's what some people want in their headcanon, I won't say no. I'm just saying we don't need to be pushing that type of information onto children because they're a little too young for it. I will dive a subversion overload. I may, but I will do it gladly. As long as the soy doesn't take me, I think I'll be fine, though. I heard that Luke Skywalker's all types of soy in that movie. He's soy on top of soy. He's so much soy the reticuloids recruited him and won't let him go. That's why they had to kill him, because they knew he was a reticuloid, and once they made that movie, they could never bring him back. They could never make him cool again. They could never make him Luke Skywalker again.
Oh, it's open, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Document.
All right.
Hey, finally.
But like I said, I just have some fun with chat, being in character while you're working on that.
No, it's just my computer been really laggy, so it's not really opening the document.
I'm fortunate. My computer may be 4 years old, but she's going strong. Very strong.
Mine too, surprisingly.
But so now to start the interview. What was your inspiration for the damned Nation of the West? What brought you to the idea for the comic?
Well, they're all movies pretty much. Do you ever hear of Pandorum, the movie? It's a sci-fi horror.
Okay.
Well, it's pretty much. Well, I took the atmosphere from that. It's like the sci-fi, of course, and Dead Space, the game. I really got involved with the creature horror and the body horror, so I just was kind of inspired by in the design sense, but yeah. The movie End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger with the devil chasing,
I have not seen that movie.
Pandorum?
No, well, I haven't seen that. That's a given. I'm not a horror fan.
Oh, which one?
End of Days. I love. Come on, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, it's also horror, but it's mostly an action. It's like Terminator, Predator, pretty much. But it's about the devil chasing Arnold through the city while he's trying to protect the girl. Pretty good movie. Kind of underrated, in my opinion, but and Children of Men, because of the end of world scenario there, and we like that tone.
Like the Clive Owen movie, right?
Yeah.
I have seen that. That was a bit of a snoozer, but I watched it. Mainly because my buddy was like, "You have to see this movie, man. It's so good." I'm sitting there like, "Oh God, please tell me this movie's gonna finish soon." Sorry.
I like some spices in my movies, but
no, you're more than... I tell everyone, you can like what you like. I like what I like. I'm not gonna judge you for it. And all I ask is you don't judge me for my bad taste in movies.
Places like The Last Jedi, of course.
Oh, don't I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. I've heard so many bad things about it. Like I
Well,
didn't
it,
even make it a day, and my buddy who's a because I'm Star Trek, but I was planning on seeing it anyway because just because I'm a Star Trek guy doesn't mean I don't watch Star Wars. Same thing with Star Wars guys. Just because they're Star Wars doesn't mean they don't watch Star Trek. But when it's bad, we let our buddies know who normally don't watch that brand. Well, who will see it but aren't like a hardcore fan of it like they are the other. They're like, don't go see that movie. It sucks. That's what happened to me. One of my Star Trek buddies was like, that movie sucked. I fell asleep during it. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
well, the
But
reboot.
no, The Last Jedi.
Well, I mean, it was Star Trek, but
The Kelvin timeline was all right. I'm not going to fault it too badly, but could have been better. I like Into Darkness, but just saying. But anyway, let's get back to your comic concern. So, issue 1, part 1. So, is there going to be several issues to part 1, or is this like where it's like part 1's basically the chapter with multiple issues in it, or is it going to be like issue 1, part 1, issue 2, part 2?
no, this is the title being Black Matter, so it's just part of two parts. So
Okay.
it connects towards the end.
So
You'll see the
basically,
transition.
so it's basically a chapter, if you will.
Oh yeah, sort of, yeah.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make or get clarification on.
But it's an ongoing series, so it's a long running series with longevity.
Gotcha. Um,
Mm.
trying to. What influenced the art? Like the specific style of art that you have for it. We were talking about it a bit before the stream, but I think that's a conversation that the viewer would love to kind of get in on.
Hmm. It's actually the third art style I tried to use, which pretty much just honestly, I don't know where I got it from. I just drew and I kind of went with what I liked. So, uh, mhm. About the influences, which was Greg Capullo, I guess, from his Batman run. But besides that, I just did whatever I liked, and the way I drew the characters and the environments. So not much there, but
Well, like I said, I like the art. I think it being the fact that it's a horror, it definitely fits it. It's one of those. It that type of art doesn't really work for a lot of like the grittiness of it. Unless it's a gritty comic, it doesn't work. And I've seen like some people try to do that style with superheroes, and unless the superhero's really gritty, it doesn't work. That's why I was glad to see it done here. It fits like a. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Earthbound by Norwal Books is
uh,
the guy.
I haven't heard of it. No.
Like his art really matches the tone of the story. Like at first I wasn't digging the art, but the more I got reading it, the more I was like, oh my god, the art fits the story. And that's the same thing what I've read with your comic. Like I said, I'm not a big horror fan, so it's like, you know what I mean? I had to read because I wanted to have somewhat of an idea of what was going on. And it
In the
was
story?
like, huh?
In the story?
Yes. Like, the
Oh,
type of comic it was and everything.
oh. Well,
So
it's kind of snarky, but it's also serious at the same time.
say that again?
Well, it has a snarky edge to it, but it's serious at the same time. That
Oh,
makes any
gotcha.
sense.
Gotcha.
Also, I've been told that the art style looks like Eon Flux. I haven't heard of it or saw the art, but people are saying that.
I can see
Well,
that actually. I
maybe with
really
Gabriel,
can.
with Gabriel, because since his nose is kind of stylized, but I haven't really read the books or well, I saw the movie, but I haven't read the books.
Nice. I like that. You're getting elevator pitch from Skinny Ninja and Joy
Oh,
Tremblay. They
oh,
both said
I
it.
know. Oh yeah, they're both the regulars in the stream of Matt.
Oh, not a problem. You have 2 months on your Indiegogo. This probably won't be the last time you're on here. So my
Well,
whole
I
thing
don't.
is have fun. Like that's my biggest issue when it comes to my streams is always escalator. Sorry, Joey. Sorry.
The elevator.
Yeah. Well,
Only open the chat now, but only in the comments now. Uh,
but no, I try to I always stress have fun because if you're not having fun on a stream, then it just becomes boring. Nobody's having fun. The viewer's not having fun. You're not having fun. Everybody might as well just go home and play video games type deal. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you always want to have fun. But let me see. What other for or like mediums would you like the story to be adapted to? Like animation, movies, TV series?
Hmm. I haven't thought about that too much, but probably animated show because of the how long the story is. But obviously it'll fit better with the get more creative with the angles and stuff, so it'll probably fit better as an animation.
Okay. And Skinny Ninja says, I'm actually playing Spider Man while listening. That game is the only reason why I want a PS4, I have you know. The only reason. Mainly because the assholes didn't want to release it for PC, douchebags. Uh, so how far do you intend to take the story? Like, how many issues?
I haven't got an exact number, but probably 150, 200. Yeah, it's a really long story, but lots planned for it. Some exciting stuff, some twists and turns. So yeah, plenty of juice to milk from.
Nice. I I understand wanting to have a good long story, but it's always good to have an end. Like that's something I've noticed a lot of the indie projects try to do. They try to make sure that their stories have an end, even if it's just a soft ending to where it can be picked up from there at a later time. It's still somewhat of an end. This way, people feel like they got a complete story.
Well, also kind of a rough idea of the end, but yeah, there's an end insight, definitely. Good story.
All right. So, who are your influences, like artistically? Like, what made you want to get into writing and drawing and whatnot?
Well, as you know from before we went live, Assassin's Creed was I was a fan of that when I was like in my teenage years. So a funny story, the main character came first before I wrote the story, so I wrote the story around him. So that's kind of how I developed that, like the first couple of drafts, and I started developing it after that when I saw the mistakes and rewrote some of the stuff. So yeah,
All right.
also some, oh, sorry.
Oh
Also
no,
some like
go ahead.
also some of Lovecraft's story kind of influenced my some of the themes later on in my story. So that's also another influence.
Okay. Uh, what comics did you like to read while growing up? Like, were you into superhero comics? And if so, what were the ones you enjoyed reading?
Tell you the truth, I didn't really grow up reading comics. My family wasn't really into that sort of stuff. They're more into anime, but I was into the Spider-Man movies. That's if that's anything. But
The original Tobey Maguire ones.
Yeah, Sam Raimi ones. Really classic movies.
All right. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. I liked the Tobey Maguire movies up until I saw The Amazing Spider-Man. Eh, And like, oh my god, they got the web shooters right, they got everything right, and then they came out with the second one, and like all the hype and goodwill that they'd built up in the first Amazing Spider-Man, I feel like they lost in the second. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It was just a muddled, convoluted mess.
Yeah, it was just only trying to that cinematic universe shtick. It didn't work out.
hmm That's why they ended up just going, screw it, we're combining with the MCU. We're not gonna be dumb and try to milk this cow that we apparently killed by trying
Like
to do too many villains in one movie.
like Venom.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Venom looks like it's gonna be a good movie. Like
Mm,
I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm
we'll
being
see.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, that's probably the best approach to go with.
Oh, I like Tom Hardy. I mean, he's a good actor. I
Really,
may
really good.
I may never forgive him for his Bane, but that's just because he should have never been Bane. They should have gotten somebody who was one, Latin American, and two, they shouldn't have made him this like weird Romanian sounding dude.
And there's this Polish actor from Game of Thrones. He's pretty tall and muscular. He could have done bien. Somebody else could have done the voids, but when he has the mask on.
Uh, Gorgonite Emissary says that uh PG-13 Venom movie equal failure.
Yeah, it's true.
What's up, Jim?
Hey, Jim.
Yes, don't know if you have had any run-ins with Jim yet. He's the writer-creator of Blue Mamba. Excellent
Yeah.
book. I can vouch for that. That was a good, very good read. But I guess the last question before we just go into talking about random things happening within that arena of comics, and possibly seeing if Jim wants to come in on the call. Star Wars, Star Trek, or Dune? This is really
Which one I
important.
prefer?
Huh?
Which one I prefer? Or
Yes. Yes.
huh. Yeah, I've never watched Dune. I'll say Star Wars. It's more fun. I never watched the old Star Trek movies or the shows, so Star Wars definitely.
Oh, you never watched Dune? I mean, granted, watch the 1984 movie. That is the best. That is the total best, dude. Like, it's a bit hokey and campy and whatnot, but like you could tell they tried to put so much of the book into it. Like, but the problem is there's just like the book is huge.
Well, there's a remake coming from the guy from Blade Runner 2049, so that's all going to be really good.
Jim, shot you a link in case you wanted to come in on the call. Join the stream for a little bit. And all digital backers got Blue Mamba today. Nice. Very happy to see that. I like the Gorgonite Emissary said, I wish David Lynch was allowed to make the Dune movie he wanted. Yeah, oh my God, he would have. Like, if I remember, he wanted to make it into a full blown trilogy. Like a big old epic. Also have it be like a 8-hour movie almost.
Like Lord of the Rings?
Say that again?
Lord of the Rings?
No, Dune.
No.
Or you
no,
say
like Lord of the Rings?
Oh, like Lord of the Rings? Yeah. Sorry. Sometimes my headset doesn't catch certain noises. All in all, it's a good headset. Like, good solid gaming headset. It just doesn't always catch everything. Or at least it hasn't lately. I think it's because a certain four-legged furball's been chewing on my cord again. Yeah, you lay back down and look away. He literally was looking at me. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, human. I'm going to lie back down. But yeah, the yes, if I'm the copy I have, which is the extended, was still about 2.5 hours long, and that's still not even the like everything that they did. Dune. Gorgon Emissary said, I remember correctly, his original cut of Dune was nearly 3 hours long, and even then, uh, Skinny Ninja, I want my cats to direct Dune. It's like, really? That's a new one. Lol. And doop doop. So, I mean, surprisingly, that's the only thing that's been going on in comics. Like, has been pretty much been the usual drama.
Yeah, it's very tiring to me.
Well, it's like take yesterday the whole bit with Nasser, dude. That was ridiculous. Nasser and Layman from
What? I must have missed that.
basically Layman, I guess, was the writer creator of this comic book Chew. Didn't even know who the guy was until yesterday. Well, apparently he unblocked, like he got into it with Nasser a few months ago, and then like Nasser wanted to buy his book and everything, but then he basically made a bunch of comments that he I couldn't even tell you. Like I said, I don't know the initial story of it from back in like March. No, I think it was May. But I know what happened yesterday. He unblocked Nasser just to pick a fight with him, blocked him again, unblocked him, picked a fight with him, then blocked him again.
That's very petty.
Yeah, that's like just ridiculous and stupid. What's up, Jim?
Hey, hey.
Hey, Jim.
Glad to have you on.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm just
Come on.
over here sitting playing 2 Point Hospital. So
2 Point Hospital?
yeah.
Never heard of it.
The call broke.
What's that?
Oh, the call
Yeah.
broke from my end.
I don't I don't know. It's just a simulation game, that's all.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so did you catch that whole bit with Nasser yesterday?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see all of it, so I can't really say anything specific about it. But generally speaking, I think people need to stop picking fights.
Thank you. I do agree there. I can't argue that. And that on all sides.
Stop going out of your way to talk to somebody you know doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I think that's actually a completely reasonable response. And let's be honest, normies look at what's going on within the realm of comics and they think we're all on both sides. We're all just fucking stupid.
Yes. Which has been my point the whole time.
Yeah. It's like, and I can completely understand that. I really can. Like, let's just be honest. We're not doing anyone any favors. It's why, like, even with the whole, like, me going on the war campaign Rose show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not a big fan of EVS. You know, I'm not a big fan of the tribalism and things
Right.
and such.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, it doesn't look. We don't need to be infighting. All these books are coming. Like your book is, getting fulfilled. Everyone's book's getting fulfilled, at least on this side. And us fighting amongst ourselves is not helping comics as a whole.
Even just fighting in general.
Yeah.
It's like, look, you know what? Just because this example stuck in my head right away. we all know Gail Simone says stupid stuff. So, what is your point of poking the bear? Okay, what's the point of, oh, Gail Simone said something stupid, I'm going to respond to it? You know what the reaction's going to be. You know what it is. So why do it? Why? And the only thing that I can come up with is because it'll be funny to see her reaction that we can then make fun of and say, hey, look at how much of a stupid person she is. And what does that get you? What? I mean, that's what everybody needs to ask themselves. What does it get you?
So far, it's been really hasn't been getting us much of anything, but looked at, I guess you could say, from once again by the normies, like we're stupid. Model, real quick, Models, check your inbox on Twitter.
I look at it this way. If I ever have a conversation with Gail Simone, I know what Gail wants to hear. Okay. And I know what she doesn't want to hear. So if I'm going to have any type of conversation with her, I need to tailor that conversation to her. Okay. I don't need to walk up to her and say, hey, you know what? I thought Batgirl number 15 was shit. Because right away she's going to be on the defensive. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not pristine in this. I made that mistake early on by sending a tweet to a creator and, throwing a fastball right in his face without him knowing I was coming. And that was a mistake, but I still see it happening today. And I still see people taking general disparagements. Okay. And they're taking general disparagements personally. If someone says all the Comicsgate people are racist, and you're not, why do you feel the need to defend yourself? Why do you feel the need to go back to that person and try and convince them of something that they will never be convinced of?
Especially being the fact that, let's be honest, that's the whole reason why they do that. They do that
exactly.
They do that because they know your first instinct is to defend yourself from the allegations of
yes
of racism. And this is where I've kind of like it's pretty much, if you try to come at me with allegations of racism, I'm more likely to be like, okay, and that's doesn't have to do anything with the price of
right.
tea in China. That's not what we're talking about. I mean, then again, I have specific rules. What's up, Primark? I hope I'm saying that name right. But it's whereas like for me, that's why I have, like I said, the rules, the 10 rules to success that allow me the ability to pretty much at all times, I guess you could say, win a debate. Give me a second. I'll dig those up.
Do you ever read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People?
No, actually.
By Dale Carnegie.
Nope.
I think anybody in business needs to read that. It's like this. I hit the wiki really quick. The book has 6 major sections. Okay, and the core principles are explained below. The first major section: fundamental techniques in handling people. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Human nature does not like to admit fault. Okay. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Appreciation is one of the most powerful tools in the world. arouse in the other person an eager want. To get what we want from another person, we must forget our own perspective and begin to see things from the point of view of others. Right there. Just follow those 3 things when you're talking to other people.
I can see that. Also, what's up, Canales?
Good night. I was just appreciating the wisdom in this hangout, guys. I'm impressed.
I would suggest to anybody, no, I would suggest to everybody who wants to communicate the message of Comicsgate, read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's not a long book. Just read it.
I'm actually going to Google it, and this way I can put the link to the book in chat. So how to win
friends and influence people.
I try to follow the Edwin Boyett model of being an extremely nice guy to everyone and trying not to be too much of an asshole.
And that's what this book kind of alludes to, you know, like this ways to win people to your way of thinking. Number 1, the only way to get the best of an argument, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then to follow that up, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong.
See, I think that's an important question, because I always say that I have been working with people with which I didn't agree for a long time. I worked with leftists, I worked with right-wing people, and we didn't agree on stuff, but we respected each other, and it wasn't just a matter of, you don't think like me and I need to correct you. Just we kept our opinions to ourselves. We didn't touch the matter, and we just got the job done. I think that's the basis for a good for a very good society, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, what's up, model? Glad to see you joined.
How you doing?
Doing all right. I may have.
I like this question from Primark. Serious question. How exactly you're supposed to prove that you're not racist? Well, Primark, it's right up there with when did you stop beating your wife? If anyone calls you a racist, avoid it. Don't respond to it. Move on.
Well, the definition of the word has been completely bastardized to it. It has nothing even to do with what the claim they're making against you. It's just ridiculous.
It's reached the point of like calling somebody an asshole or a bitch or cunt. It's a pejorative, and it's meant to demean the other person and get them to defend something that is not the original argument.
Yep. But then again, that's one of my rules of debating. It's actually trying to remember rule number 3. Like I'll go down the list real quick. Number 1, know what you're talking about. Number 2, choose your language carefully. Number 3, stay on point. Don't fall for the subject change. Number 4, frame your opponent. Use their argument against them. Number 5, avoid ad hominem attacks. Number 6, bring raw data, not confirmation bias. Number 7, it's okay to not know something as long as you admit it. Number 8, it's okay to agree to disagree. Number 9, always be civil. It's a debate, not an argument. And number 10, have fun, because when you're having fun, your mind is open.
Yep.
And but number 3, like you said, it's when they try to change subject, it's because they know they can't win on that front. They can't beat you on that subject. So they have to change it to something else and try to make you that move in the goalpost, if you will.
That post is always going to get moved. When you get there, it's going to get kicked 10 more yards ahead of you.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you always Number 4, frame your opponent. Because in framing your opponent, what you're doing is, since you're using their argument, what they believe and how they believe it as the basis of your argument, when they try to move that goalpost, you can sit there and be like, You know what I mean?
It was Zach who said that. I think it was Zach who said yesterday in a video that whenever they accuse the Comicsgator of being white incels, and some Comicsgator would put up a picture of him and he'll be a black guy or an Arabic guy like Nasser or whatever, the goalpost will always move to, man, you're ugly. That's a usual tag. You're not black. Yes, I am. Look at my face. I'm black. Oh, but you're an ugly guy.
Yeah, you're dirty cum rag. It always goes to the name calling.
And so why give them that opportunity? Okay. Oh, exactly. Well, Comicsgaters are nothing but a bunch of white supremacist, racist, people, and you're not white, and you know it.
Oh yeah,
I don't satisfaction. I don't play that. I don't play that game because that's exactly what they want. Because your initial point was this comic sucks, and then you completely forget about your initial point and begin to defend your position as a non-racist or a non-white person, and that's forgetting about the comic. That's exactly. This is why I always say it's not on me. The burden of proof to prove that I'm not a racist, it's not on me. It's on you to prove that I'm a racist. So
and this is why if I ever get in an argument with somebody who says, well, you're just a cishet white male, I'll be like, well, no, actually I identify as a female Armenian American lesbian. Let's move on. Because I've just used their tool against them and created an identity that they can't penetrate. And if they come back and say, you can't do that, say, are you invalidating my identity? Are you invalidating my existence? Just use it, and then I throw them on the defensive. And now we're completely off.
The prime directive of the left is always lie, always double down, and always triple down. And right now they're in their death throes, and it's a dying ideology. I really believe it's on its way out.
I would agree with you, but I don't.
I'm not saying they're not dangerous.
We've probably still got about another 5 to 10 years of it. Maybe. Generally speaking,
as if Marvel and DC lasts that long. But
they'll be around.
Real quick, model from chat. What they were asked, what's being drawn?
Oh, I'm doing silhouette studies for spaceships for McKinnon Chronicles. So I'm just drawing silhouettes right now.
Gotcha.
Trying to find shapes that I like, and then eventually I'll start tuning it into other more defined shapes. So I'm just scribbling.
Gotcha. Also, folks, McKinnon Chronicles will be coming to Indiegogo on October 14th, so look out for that. And then,
nice.
Basically, Organite Emissary went and stated, Uncle Tom this, race traitor that, internalized racism, blah, blah, blah. It'll never be enough for these people. And then Sketch, Comicsgate is a consumer revolt against bad quality and bad customer service. Among the revolted are creators who offer quality products and good customer service. And yeah, that should be expected. That should not be something that should be too difficult to ask for.
Here's the thing, though, and you had on something about choosing your language. I think people need to get away from the inciting language. So, a consumer revolt. I'm not 100% sure that this can be quantified as a revolt. You can say this is I would say this is more of consumer concern, consumer just a revolt implies so much more than what is going on.
Well, I think my opinion on this is the birth of a whole new industry. And this is exactly how they start. There's a need for something, something starts up, people latch onto it, and they're latching on fast. I would say by the end of this being done within 5 years, there'll be a whole new publisher, there'll be a whole new distributor, and there'll be independent collectible and toy makers. This is a whole new industry that's starting up right now.
But don't you think that the guys who started Image thought the same way?
Well, they were well on their way, don't you think? They were killing it for a while.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, they let individuals who put their ideologies, before their product.
I think so. I think that's the main reason.
I mean, and I hate to be harsh like that, but they did. They started putting too much, I guess you could say, care into my social justice and not enough into, is this something that someone's going to buy? I mean, it's like we were talking about last night on Sporkstream, how they worry too much about their beliefs, all the things that they shouldn't worry about, and not enough on, is this something that people will pay money for? And that's what's happening. We're seeing a birth of comics and whatnot, and of, I guess you could say, an industry that puts what is financially successful, what is going to sell, versus what makes me feel good about myself at the end of the day when I've actually done absolutely nothing for said cause or whatever.
And my recollection of Image in the early 90s was it was phenomenal. The quality was unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm just my point with that is, this is not the first time we've had, creators of a new industry or a new publisher coming to the game, and if that's the goal, if the goal is to say, okay, well, we're creating a new publisher, we're going to rebuild this industry in the image that we want. All right, just know that it's been tried before, and you need to take lessons from that, and you need to be careful about what you're doing.
Well, and it won't be the last one either.
No, it won't.
There'll be another one.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that if that is in fact what the creators within Comicsgate are doing, then this is very, very, very deep in its infancy. There's still a long ways to go before you develop enough to say, yes, we can survive without the traditional comics establishment. So, yeah.
It's definitely in its infancy. And I tell you, someone's going to come out, someone who's good with numbers and good at managing is going to come out, go get a warehouse space and start getting all these indie books shipped to them for distribution. There's so many opportunities ahead.
And that's and you hit on it right there, is who's going to take the distribution model. And at that point, which comic stores are you going to get to buy from that distributor who are willing to give up Diamond? Because when you, as a comic store, if you sign on with Diamond, your contract says you buy comics from them exclusively.
Well, they're going to have to give that up, because what's going to happen is that the numbers, there's going to be parity on these numbers, and it's going to be, well, who's selling more books?
But look at that part from the LCS point of view. I give up Batman, I give up Superman, I give up Flash, I give up
absolutely
Avengers, I give up X-Men, I give up everything from the big two.
Oh, and that's
just so I can get these indie books.
And that's true. But what happens when they look at those numbers and go, okay, well, I'm selling 5 Spider-Men a week, but I would sell 10 Rags.
Right. And that's a possibility, but we're probably 3 to 5 years away.
Sure. Yeah. This is in its infancy. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I I see a lot of people really super energized about this, and I know how these energetic movements happen. And if things don't move quickly enough, people lose interest and movements disappear. And I think we might have a lot of people involved in this who think that this can happen in 1 or 2 years. And it just can't, not without tons of money. And yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a very hard push to really pick up some of the collectibles and start a whole new business and a whole new company off of that.
Mhm.
And then you have that's going into the stores. You get someone like the Quartering who's really into the card games.
Mhm.
And then plus offshoot card games from these properties, tabletop games, miniatures. It's just to, to keep everybody going, make sure everybody delivers, and it'll sort itself out.
Oh yeah, and real quick, the Organi emissary said we'll have our own industry with blackjack and hookers.
I don't think the old model is going to completely disappear, but I think that there's a high chance that the big two will disappear, or at least Marvel will disappear and will become absorbed by some other company, like Timely Comics and all these old companies that ended up lending their characters to Marvel. I think Captain America was Timely Comics at some point.
Well, Disney's got a lot of resources to outlast.
Yeah, I was going to say I think I get your point, but Marvel Comics may go away. Okay, may. And that's a very slight chance. But Disney will always own the characters. So you may see Marvel. What's all that noise coming from?
Sorry. I was unpacking paints. I was painting my Gaslands minis. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Marvel may go away as a publisher, but Disney will keep the characters and say license them out to Image or Boom or somebody else, whoever's next in line to write these characters. So they're not going to go away. You're never going to get rid of those properties, and at that point, you're going to see the people that were in Marvel, that were in DC, try and move over to whoever is licensed to create those characters at that point.
But the thing is anyone who's a businessman of any salt will look at the fact that they were employed at those, for instance, at Marvel when Marvel stopped, pretty much ceased to be, and they'll go, why would I want someone who was working at Marvel when they collapsed work for me?
Well, they're going to retool. They'll politically retool. They'll clean house.
There's a long conversation about that, and if you want to get into the business part of it, we can. But it's a long, boring conversation. I don't know. I don't know if they'll politically retool. Disney's not going to give two shits about whoever's doing the comics next, as long as they make money. Okay. Or excuse me, as long as they don't lose money. B, whoever picks up those properties to write them or to publish them is going to be looking at trying to do it for less money than what Marvel was doing it for. That's the business part of it.
Don't you think at some point, though, there are investors and there are board of directors. At some point, they get tired of this.
Yes, absolutely. And at that point, they start looking at, okay, well, why can't we get the people we want? And if it comes down to, oh, well, people with XYZ belief or ideology are scaring all the good people away, then you're going to have people kicked out, basically. But that's the 5 to 10 years down the road.
Right. Because at the end of the day, this is still based on money, and these properties have, movies aren't made because people like movies to make movies. Movies are made like the stock market. They make them expecting to double their money or whatever their margin is.
Yeah.
These people investing 500 million in a movie are not doing it because they want to make a great film. They're doing it because they think they're going to get a return on their investment.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think we're starting to see, well, with, and this is kind of scary, with the influx of Chinese money, you're going to see a lot of investors not give a shit anymore, because the Chinese don't like this social justice shit.
Oh no, they don't put up with it in their country.
They call it white left, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they're communists. They should love it.
Well, they're pretty xenophobic still. They're as far as culturally, they're still in that mindset. They don't care about any of this nonsense.
So you have investors coming over from China saying, like, hey, I was going to put down, $250 million for this movie. Why isn't it getting made?
And
it's because, we can't put this famous star in there. We have to put this politically correct character in there. And then the investor says, oh, well, then I'm going to take my money and go home.
Yeah, pretty much.
You want to hear my theory on The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi with the Chinese?
Shoot.
Yes, please.
In China, they photoshopped Finn out of the posters because,
yes,
for the most part, to be blunt, they did not want a black guy on their movie posters as far as trying to sell that movie.
Right.
So I think the Rose and Finn relationship was Kathleen Kennedy sticking her finger in the Chinese eye. I absolutely think that, and it was a bad mistake on her part.
Yeah, could be.
Being the fact that Kathleen's pretty much all but like in public eye out there at Disney, Lucasfilm, I should say, like they don't want anything to do with her anymore. It doesn't surprise me.
Well, it's just one of those vindictive kind of feminist things to do, just to poke at someone.
Well, the thing that bothers me about the whole, everyone talks bad about The Last Jedi. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say that, I know for a fact that it's good or it's bad. But the thing that I've noticed is the fact that the one theme that I keep seeing is people are like, no, this movie could have been, it had everything going for it, and if it had not been for pretty much ideology, that it was ideology that fucked the movie pretty much.
I think so. I think it was overall pretty bad movie.
No, the script itself was pretty bad. I mean, it was full of, the 30-minute subplot in the casino planet was pointless. There's gravity in space and that kind of stuff. It's still, social justice agenda excluded. It's still pretty bad.
The whole thing with that Mary Poppins scene, that completely lost me on the movie. And actually, that would have been a really touching scene and a nice send-off to that character, to just let her go out the window.
Yes.
What a missed opportunity.
Yes. But that wasn't the plan, because they felt that Leia was the more popular character out of the original characters, and they wanted her
the only woman, right?
That was a prime example of ideology. Taking a character that had never used the Force, never done anything of, that caliber, but because she's a Skywalker, obviously she knows how to use the Force now, and
everybody knows that if she were actually using the Force, she would have pulled the ship to her, not her to the ship.
Exactly. Because we know that Jedis are literally their Star Killer in The Force Unleashed, literally pulling a Star Destroyer down from space.
Well, the thing is that idea precisely contradicts the movie, because the movie tries to makes us think that the Force is like this thing that anyone can do at any time. But they also tell us that the Solo lineage, the Solo Skywalker lineage, which Kylo Ren embodies, is extremely powerful. So which one is it? Is the Force something that anyone can use, or is it just a genetics exclusive thing?
Well, I know it's supposed to be that the Force is in everything, but only specific people can manipulate the Force. Like, you'll have people like you are, just because, take for instance Han Solo, the whole Guido shot first, like,
Yeah.
line, the fact that he dodged it, the reason why, and he said later on in the movie that he doesn't believe in the Force, that little smug little smile that Obi-Wan gave him was because Obi-Wan noticed that he was Force sensitive. He was using the Force without realizing it. And it makes sense, because think about it. He dodged that shot before, like, perfectly. He knew exactly where it was going to go, everything, like when he was going to fire. That's something a Jedi does, not something a ruggishly handsome smuggler would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That reminds me of a thought I've had for a while. Remember when Spielberg switched out the guns with walkie-talkies?
Oh yeah.
I think that's coming next. I think they're going to do something. Start doing that with movies. They're going to start memory holing these things they don't like in movies.
Oh man, just terrible.
Well, they're doing it to books. They're taking classic books and they're taking entire concepts out of books.
Huck Finn, I think what it was.
Yep. It's the classic. They have to scrub anything that made those books a valuable lesson for the future. Take 1984. It was, what's happening because George Orwell warned us. We've been seeing it happening for a while now with the statues and things like that. It's just that everyone thought, they're not. They
wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That stupid. No, they are that stupid. They really are.
I just think so that the one with Huck Finn, I just think that's funny that they're taking Nigger Jim and replacing it with Slave Jim.
Mm.
And I'm like,
isn't anything becomes offensive once it becomes the norm?
Well, and I when I first saw that, I'm like, okay, so you're saying the word slave is better.
That's why, when people talk about
stupid, if you ask me.
Whenever people talk about POCs, I think of the left. They're all POCs. They're people of complaining, and it will never end.
I love how in literature, people of color in literature are called COCs or cocks.
Ridiculous. Well, man, it's like let's see. Primark said, seriously, our lifetime is the backstory to a crappy dystopian future. Our kids and grandkids are going to be the ones that suffer from RBS, not us.
Mm.
And then Gorgonite, never underestimate the power, how stupid humans can be. Yeah, no shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's limitless.
And it's like, the whole point of why certain things was like certain warnings were made, i.e., 1984 and things of the such, was so we would not put ourselves in this situation. And the fact that it strikes me as only those who actually I feel like very few people actually paid attention. Most people only read the book because they had to for school, but they didn't bother to learn a damn thing from it. I didn't even read the book for school. I read the book because I knew it was a warning that I needed to read. And so I actually, I guess, paid attention because of it.
Well, and they're getting rid of those classic books too. Those aren't even requirements anymore for most schools. They've updated it with newer Maya Angelou poetry and stuff like that, which is debatable whether or not it's good poetry.
Well, think about it. It teaches what does it teach? It teaches us to hate the white man, quote unquote, for the things that the white man's done. But other than that, it's pretty much that's all it is to teach white guilt. And it's like that doesn't help in the big picture. It's like I made the mistake of going on Facebook today, literally for 1 minute. Literally, I made it 2 scrolls down and was like, nope, because it was. I saw a post that was basically talking about slavery is like a gas gauge or whatever, or no, the RPM gauge for like a car. Except slavery was the red, Jim Crow was the yellow, and then after that was the green. And it's like I saw that and I just was like, you know what? I can't. This is why I can't get on Facebook anymore.
Facebook is a cesspool.
It really is. But the whole point I'm making with that is the longer you focus on the past, you are never looking forward. And that's exactly what all this shit does, is it keeps us looking at the past and not looking at how the future and how we can make things better.
Exactly.
I think it's funny that you think Facebook is that way, because I think the exact same thing of Twitter.
Oh yeah, Twitter's awful. There's no doubt about it.
And my Facebook is absolutely fine. I don't have any problems on my Facebook. And you know why? Because I have better control over who I see and who follows me on Facebook.
Well, a lot of these people, the sad thing is a lot of these people that I have on my Facebook are people that didn't used to have these beliefs, that didn't used to say these things. And that's the part that's frustrating. It's you have a bunch of people who are weak to programming, and the minute pretty much those who had, I guess you could say, they didn't have their best interests at heart. They just had their ideology at heart. You know, pushed it. All these people that once had strong, independent thoughts, they just became a part of the mob, and they lost anything that made themselves interesting, anything that made themselves worth actually being around. And that's sad. Like, the one buddy of mine that I have on Facebook, or not Facebook, but Twitter, like, he has all this social justice, white guilt, and all this, that, and the other, and I think about engaging half the time, and then I go, you know what? No. If he's dumb enough if he thinks that his white guilt is going to protect him in the race war that he's trying to create, him and people like him are trying to create, he's dumb enough to deserve what happens to him.
Well, we are marching towards civil unrest. I don't know how else this ends, because they're not going to give up. Nobody's going to give up.
No. It's too easy to stick to your convention or to your convictions until you have to stare someone in the face.
And Gorgonite Emissary, I have to do it just for you.
That's right. Because as long as Bob Jones is here to fight the good fight, I will break the conditioning on these folks. I will do what I gotta do to make sure that America.
You know what? I absolutely, I both think this is hilarious, and I think it's annoying. Are people that say that announce to the world what they're going to do, what they're going to say, and no one else can change their mind. And if that's how you feel, just shut up and go do it.
Right. No, I completely understand. And it's that classic, they may be wrong, but because they're so unwilling to allow someone the opportunity to prove them wrong.
If you are so stuck in your convictions and so hardened in the ways you want to do things, stop trying to tell somebody else that that's how you are, because you're not going to listen to them. They're not going to listen to you. Just stop it.
Well, isn't that another great straw man from the other side too? Anytime anyone does change their mind, then you hear all the accusations of, you have no conviction. Oh, he waffled. He's a flip-flopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
can tell that a
everybody
lot because
everybody needs to learn. There's no debating insanity or irrational thought. There's no debating it.
People can change their mind. Let people
People can-
change their mind.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of arguing with somebody is to change their mind.
Well,
And
it's the-
if you're not going to give your opponent the benefit of being able to change what they're thinking based on your arguments, then don't argue in the first place.
Yes, which is the point I was about to make, is the fact that that's how we vet our ideas, is by having people challenge them and us go, okay, I'm putting forth this idea, and this is how I feel, this is what I think should be done, la da da da, and then people go, well, that's not exactly a good idea. That's kind of the opposite of a good idea. That's a bad idea. And then people go, oh, okay, and move on.
Yeah.
They rework their ideas. But if you are unwilling to listen to reason, and if you're unwilling to actually, like you said, give someone that opportunity to vet your idea and debate it, then all you're doing is making situations worse. All you're doing is making it to where no one wants to be around you. I mean, look at SJWs. They think they're winning, but it's not a matter of them winning. It's a matter of nobody wants to be around them anymore. Nobody wants to even remotely deal with them, because they know no matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how many times they actually get refuted, they know, or everyone knows, they're going to sit there and be like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't beat me. You're just straw manning, or this, that, and the other. It's like, no, you dumbass, your ideas are the ones that's a straw man.
No, I tell you, I learned a long time ago, I don't play games I can't win. That's why I don't interact with them.
Yeah.
You can't win. You're never going to convince them. So,
And when
I will only argue or aggressively discuss topics like that with people who ask me to, or if I feel that there's an opportunity to change their mind, or if I just want to have fun.
sure.
And if I'm just having fun, you'll know it, because I'll be laughing.
Oh yeah, and like for me, the way I look at it is like, for instance, if we had an SJW here, what the SJWs don't realize is we would let them speak. For instance, we would let them make their case. We would let them try to say that what they believe in and try to bring us to their side. But at the same time, we would expect the same from them when we try to convince them to come to our side. And that's the thing that they don't like, and they know that about us. They know we are willing to let them plead their case.
The thing is, SJWs have this weird concept of ideas, according to which ideas are like a virus, and people are like cells, something like that. People are not individuals, and if you expose them to an idea, they may become infected, because that's how it works. If you let Hitler speak at a public forum, there's a chance that, I don't know, maybe 3 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10 people will become Nazis, will become infected, because that's how ideas work. They don't believe that, as we do, that people are intelligent enough to make up their minds and and compare ideas and wait a minute, this doesn't sound too right. This is why they want to control the media. They want to control the discourse, because they want to infect people. They want to program people with their computer virus, and that's why they want to keep other people from speaking.
Well, and they're not interested in debate. They aren't willing to change. Yeah, that's why it always goes the same way, because you're not going to convince them, and if you do say something that might convince them, they're going to shut you down, call you a duty head, or whatever it is they resort to. It always goes to name calling with them all the time.
Oh yeah, it's like Gorgonite Emissary said here. Arguing with stupid people is like playing chess with a pigeon. No matter how good you play it, they'll shit on the board and strut around like they won anyway.
Yep.
And like whoever
Yeah, it's like
originally said that, like they get full credit for that quote. But yeah, and it's just sad because what these individuals don't realize is like, for instance, when you debate something, when you have some, like, you are putting the entirety of your ideals on the line. You are basically making it to where, you know, whether win, lose, it comes down to how well you can debate your stance, how well you can actually convey the message you are trying to spread to people. And if you are not good at it, you're not going to spread your message. And like, so the whole bit, like Kanala said with the Nazis and everything, most Nazis can't convey their message without immediately going to, you know, basically shooting themselves in the foot. So
Wait, which Nazis are we talking about? The real ones or the fake ones?
the real ones.
Okay.
Like the actual de facto Nazis, like the Richard Spencer types and whatnot.
Oh,
Yeah, you know
oh,
that-
no, I'm sorry. I
70
consider those guys fake Nazis too. When I say real Nazis, I'm talking about the German Socialist Party from the 1930s.
Gotcha.
Well, and they are utterly shameless too. I mean, truth is nothing that they're ever after. I mean, look at that Shaq guy begging. How many times has he done that? Wouldn't you be so? I mean, I would go if I got into a real bind. I would say I might make a post and say, "Hey guys, here's what happened. Anybody have any work? Anybody have anything I can do right now to make a few extra bucks?" These guys, if you go and look at any of these SJWs on Twitter, go click their profile and look at the percentage of these lunatics that have a GoFundMe or a Patreon just to give them money for just being them, for doing nothing.
All of them have.
Hey, I resemble that remark. I got a Patreon too.
But
Yeah,
you're
but you're
doing shows.
accountable.
I have a Patreon. You know, but you're doing shows. These guys want it just for being them.
Oh, I know. I just couldn't resist.
Hey, if I start a Patreon just for a sandwich every month, will you guys support me?
No.
Oh, fuck you.
Get your own damn
Sorry, Jim.
It won't be a lot. It'll be like $1 to back me because all I want is a sandwich each month.
Nope, still not helping you out, guy. Just because you said sandwich, and nobody likes sandwich, boy.
Oh, eat a dick.
Oh, don't put it past me.
I wouldn't. That's why I said.
Well, that's hilarious. Really got quiet after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got creepy. Speaking of oral sex and all that.
I'm completely getting a laugh out of what's going on in chat. This is fucking hilarious.
I'm trying to follow it. Doing multiple things. And I'm also watching what Model's doing. Like, that's looking pretty cool.
Well, all I'm just trying to do is get a shape that I like, and then I'll refine it later. But it's just kind of one of the ways that I work. When I don't know what I'm going to make, I'll just start scribbling. And silhouettes are a great way. You know, if you're like out there and you're trying to learn how to draw and design silhouettes, man, if something doesn't look good in one color as a silhouette, it's not going to probably look good as a full form.
True.
Oh, yeah. Like, I understand that. But, like, I don't know. I just find it sad that we can have entire conversations about, you know, culture and things like that, but supposedly we're the uncultured ones. We're the ones that don't know what we're talking about. We're the ones that haven't done any research and so on and so forth.
I haven't. I'm winging this. I'm kidding.
I was about to be like, I'm gonna call bullshit on that because you seem to be knowing a bit too much.
I just have experience, I guess. I use that as a very general term because I don't have a lot of experience with comics industry, but I've got experience in a lot of other stuff. But if I ever say I'm going to research something, you can pretty much guarantee that when I'm done researching, I will know almost everything there is to know about it. But otherwise, I'm just pulling from experience from other stuff. So,
Well,
some of these things are fundamental. I mean, when we're talking business practices, some business practices are just fundamental, regardless of what business you're talking about. It's when you get ideological in some of these things is when you start having problems with business practices.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of, and really that's why I keep trying to get across to people that you don't want, when you don't want to mix ideology and business unless that business specifically is designed to cater to ideology, i.e.
Unless you're a church.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you do things for churches or a specific political party. And really, even then, it's that stupid if you ask me, because why not do things for both political parties? You're saying no to money to half of, or to basically however many people that you could.
That's basically because money and free market are actually the most egalitarian systems there are, because when you only want to make money, you don't care about the gender or the race or the political orientation of your customers. It's the ultimate equalizer, just like death.
Oh, yeah.
Really quick, Primark asked if I'm doing any books after Blue Mamba.
I was about to ask that.
Yeah, so Blue Mamba is planned as an ongoing series, and as soon as I have the money to make number two will start being produced.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? I mean, don't feel like you can't ask. It's because we're blathering on about culture war stuff.
Yeah, we're just taking up dead air. So
Yeah,
just ask
pretty
questions.
Like, also don't forget the guest of honor is Lewis, who's it's Lewis.
Yeah.
Is it Lewis or Luis? Like I know there's
Oh
a
yeah,
different
it's Luis. I didn't want to correct you, but it's Luis. It's Portuguese.
word. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It happens a lot with English speakers.
But and he does have his book out there, the Nation West, Damned Nation of the West. I was about to butcher that name so bad.
Fuck you, Kenneth. RC Cola is fine. It is not garbage.
And I kind of try to avoid soda if I can.
You can kiss my ass. I will fight you with RC bottles.
Okay.
The real ones, not that plastic shit you see in convenience stores.
I will dodge
This is why
them.
I like Americans.
Yeah, those old glass bottles. When I was in college, I worked third shift at a Coca-Cola bottling plant. Worst job I ever had. It's really one of the only real jobs I've ever had. I've been a freelance artist for 2 decades, but man, that place was the shittiest job you could ever have. But they had one of those old-fashioned glass bottle bottling lines, where they make the old RCs and the Coca-Colas and in mellow yellows in those decorative spiral bottles.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was working on the line. He was carrying a case, those old wood cases of bottles that they to take it off the line, and the bottom came out of the case, and all those bottles dropped out. Well, one of them exploded, and a shard of glass shot straight up into his nose.
Oh,
like this, like a 3-inch shard of glass blew straight, perfectly up his nose, and I mean, it looked like someone slaughtered a pig. He was okay, but I mean, it was unbelievable.
I'll tell you another funny story. So I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, and a 6-pack of RC bottles fell out of the truck while we were driving down the highway. None of them broke.
Wow.
Those bottles bounced on the asphalt.
I was on an interstate in North Carolina one time when a beer truck turned over, and they just let us start loading beer up into our cars because they wanted help cleaning it up. The state patrol, they checked our IDs, and we just started loading up beer.
Oh yeah.
It was back when I was in college. It was great.
Right. And real quick, Jim, Luis, the Joey Tremblay, I hope I said your name right, said, I'd like to hear a dialogue between Jim and Luis about digital versions of their books. I spoke to Luis about it a little bit yesterday.
What do you want to know? I mean, it's the comic book without paper. It's there's nothing special about the digital version. I don't think. They for all of the for my campaign, for all the backers that completed their backer kit survey, the digital versions were distributed today. So how many have we sent out so far? 100 looks like so far. So I'm hoping to get some reviews back from people who have read the digital version so far.
Oh, I've been saying since you shot me your copy of it, how good it is. Like, it's definitely, like, I was even telling some normies about how good that book was and how they needed to head to Indiegogo and back it. So I should tell you something. Joey Tremblay said Luis was skeptical about digital sales, which I don't know why. I mean, digital's proven itself to be a viable market. I mean, everyone, don't get me wrong, people prefer floppies. All of us prefer floppies. But
I wasn't going to do digital at all because I prefer sending out floppy copies to everybody. I want people to have that experience in their hands. But some people don't. And that's turning away money. So, yeah.
I've got to have a hard copy of a book. I can't retain or even concentrate reading on a computer or a tablet. I've tried. It must be the refresh rate or something because I cannot.
I'm the same way.
Comprehend anything. And
Luis,
I have the same problem. I'm just reading things on my hands again. I think it was Stanley who said that comics are like tits. It's good to see them on screen, but it's even better to have them on your hands.
No, that's exactly what he said. And, I agree. To me, I prefer a physical copy, but I will not say no to if all I can get my hands on is a digital copy, i.e. Wanpool. I mean, that's a prime example of it's a digital-only comic, and if that's the only way I can get it, then I will, take what I can get, and I will be happy about it. I mean, and that's a great book. If y'all haven't read it out there, which I hate to say it, probably almost everyone here probably has, head over to Comic Central and check it out. That is a really good book. It's really funny. From what I've seen, issue 2, Troy is going to be working on that after he gets all his commission work done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's a hilarious character.
It really is.
Absolutely it is.
It's great.
Right. And Troy's such a great guy. Like, Troy's one of those people. He's like, for instance, Peter Samedi. He's someone that the entire community feels comfortable rallying around because he's such a great guy. Same thing with Canales, great guy. Same thing with Jim, great guy. Models new. We're still learning about him. I mean, he only does the modeling and whatnot. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. And it's one of those though. Troy, for instance, he put the time in. Canales has put the time in. I mean, what number are you on the Decimators, Canales?
Right now, I'm on issue 19. As I always say, I'm trying to wrap it all up and have it done. Yeah, I've been at it for like a year and a half, something like that, almost every week.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of people, and that's another prime example that, like, you just recently finally got it to where it's physical, correct? With Wicked.
I was lucky enough to be approached by the Wicked guys because, as I told Zach recently, I dread the thought of spending the next 3 months printing and packaging and distributing my own comics. I just can't stomach that thought. So I was lucky enough that these guys wanted to print the whole thing for me after I was doing it digitally for a year, over a year now. So yeah, it was pure serendipity, so to speak.
Oh yeah, real quick. Sup Midnight, sup Avid. Nice to see y'all joined. And
I see Ethan's campaign, and you go, "Oh man, it would be so nice to sell 9,000 comics," and then you go,
Oh yeah.
"It would not be
Oh.
nice to have to pack 9,000
No.
comics."
No way.
no, I feel bad for Richard, man. And Canales, next time you tell him, I know I'm a nobody, but tell him one of the little YouTubers say, "Hey, I feel bad for you." I mean, because he's got a lot of work cut out for him with Iron Sights.
I've been trying to message Richard too. I'd like to make some of those Jawbreaker figures.
Cool.
That's a great idea.
He's tough to get in touch with.
Well,
I don't know if he's tough to get in touch with. He's just busy.
Well, yeah, same. That would be my point.
Yeah, he's probably like a dozen different DMs every day.
Yeah.
Not 2 or 3 dozen different
Exactly.
DMs every day. And then, now he's a celebrity now.
he's what now?
He's a celebrity. He's been on national TV.
Oh, sure.
CBR speaks
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it every day. He's more famous than I don't know any of the guys criticizing him.
Well, when you get a hit piece and a horrible hatchet job done on you by Comedy Central, I mean, I'm just saying that was. Oh God!
One was the last time Gail Simone was on Comedy Central.
Right.
That's my case.
Oh, dude, and the fact that they last time I checked took down that video.
Oh yeah. No, they re-uploaded it. I checked it out recently and it was up again. But yeah, they took it out. Took it down.
I'm gonna have to go back and Jim Jeffries, and because gotta get that dislike ratio fixed.
Well, that thing got ratioed into the dirt, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did. Oh yeah, and like
I think it was a bad idea.
You guys know that the like to dislike ratio means nothing in YouTube, right?
No, but it's visually, it's the optics.
Right. All it does, whether you like or dislike, is just it gives the video engagement and actually makes it more popular.
well,
That's my point. That it was supposed to be a hatchet job for Richard, but in all actuality, it made him famous and relevant. It was supposed to make him look bad, and he was the one who came off as reasonable, even with the hatchet job, the editing.
I don't know if it made him famous. I think it just made him more relevant. Yeah.
Well, the point I was making is when you have everyone like I still stand by like that Just Some Guys video that he did on it. Oh my God. It was so hilarious and was so well done. Like, give me a second. I will post that in the link because I kind of last time I talked to him when I saw it. Okay, so Just Some Guy, when he did his Black Panther video, where he's talking about how, all the people that were like Wakanda forever and this, that, and the other, like, none of them read a Black Panther comic book. I posted this is before I actually knew him, and talked to him on Twitter. I was like, oh, dude, you deserve a medal for this video. And then when I saw the Jim Jeffries video that I just posted the link for in the chat, oh my God, the Gaggle of Hypocrites was the name of the video, and oh my God, he Once again, he deserves 2 medals now because that video was, oh my goodness. Oh, that was great.
You know, this Chelsea Kane thing that's popped up in the last couple of days. I almost posted that feminist agenda T-shirt art that I had done.
She's the one that got the book canceled, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can barely keep it all straight anymore. It's falling apart.
You guys remember the fan art that I had done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost posted that on a thread about Chelsea Kane, and I'm like, that could probably be seen as a death threat.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
to be honest,
can
anything
get
can
away-
be seen with it.
They can get away with those kind of threats, but not us.
That would be a very, very good test to see what side they think I'm on.
Avid, to answer your question, Canellis already has a book, actually. Not just Iron Sights, which Richard's in the process of fulfilling the Indiegogos for right now, but he has Decimators that you can purchase from Wicked Publishing. That is
And
correct,
you
right,
should.
Canellis?
That is correct. You should run to the website of Wicked Publishing and get your printed copy because it's a really good comic, and not just because I'm the one doing it. It's objectively a great comic. It's just science.
Oh yeah, I was, and
At least I tried, man.
oh yeah, no, it's one of those. I still have yet that, like, I've been having so much go on. I've yet to actually sit down and read Decimators. Like, I've popped it up so many times and then had something pop up. Every time I've sat down to read Decimators, I've had something happen. I'm just like, motherfuck.
I can understand. I can understand. Since I'm almost a full-time artist, I have no time to read comics like I used to. Which is a good thing because most comics sucks anyway. So.
Well, like, I got all my alternate books in today, and it's like, I'm kind of hanging them up now. The whole plan was to hang them up after I've read them. But then I'm like, you know what? I want, and, just forewarning to those in chat, one of the things I'm planning on doing is
Bob Jones Reviews, where I take a look at the various alternate comics and I review them for your viewing pleasure to make sure that you know that they're free of the soy and free of reticuloids.
I've seen the documents.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. I like I said though, I want to read the Decimators just simply one is because you're my friend and I want to read your comic. This way I can be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Always got to support your friends. I just haven't had the chance yet, and it makes me kind of sad.
I tell you, I got a lot into comic books lately. I want to start getting some of these smaller indies too. Hopefully, once everybody gets everything in place with shipping and things like that, some of the costs will start to go down because those $35 books are adding up quick.
Oh, most definitely. It's why when I finally do find an artist willing to work with me and everything for my comic, I hope that we can work something out where we can keep the comic book fairly cheap. You know what I mean? Because if we can keep the costs of my comic cheap, to where it'll be cheap to distribute, things like that, it makes it to where, like, I really would love to get it on, like, Alterna's label. I think that would be great. But I don't know if that would be something that Peter would be into. So.
There's big things ahead for Peter, I think.
Oh, dude, if Peter...
And again, the shipping is really, once they get the shipping sorted out, it'll change things quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, if I could sell my book for less than what I have to, I would. I mean, let me rephrase that. I could sell my book for a lot less than what it was sold for. However, I would never make any money. It comes down to, you know, I need to make some profit off of this. I spent a lot of money. I mean, for issue number 1, I'm actually going to come out in the red a lot, and that's just the way it goes. But if I could, absolutely, if I could make this book for less money and still keep the quality that I want, I would do it in a heartbeat. I had this conversation with the owner of my LCS, who said, you know, if you printed 10,000 of these, you could get the cost per issue down to like $1. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. That'd be wonderful. If only I had $10,000 to print them.
And that's where the problem lies. You don't have that type of money just lying around, where these
right
where the big two, I mean, that's their entire distribution model is based off of that type of.
The big two could pulp a 50,000 print run and not blink.
Mm-hmm. And it would literally, to them, they wouldn't even see a literal, like, they wouldn't realize money was lost, which is why they're, as bad as it sounds, goes back to what we were talking about earlier, why the comic books are so bad right now, because they don't notice it. And it's like, they're not hurting themselves right now. They're hurting the actual LCSs. The LCSs are the ones who are taking the hit for their shoddy product.
Right.
And I think it's kind of sad that we have this, like, the indie guys that, like, you know, Canales and whatnot, that can't afford to have your comics be sold for that low of a price. But at the same time, that would help guarantee your comic would get sold. And it'd make it where it'd be a lot easier for your comic book to get in the stores and things like that. Because what LCS is going to want to book, and, you know, that on the shelves, that's going to cost so much to make. If that makes sense. Or so much to sell, I mean. Sorry.
Margins can be factored in later once they get distribution down. That's a major thing that's going to have to be worked out.
Well,
yeah.
And then whether or not the indie guys even want to bother with it when they can just take all the profit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I view that as personally the ignorant move, because you want to be able to, I guess you could say, yes, that'd be a great short-term move, be great for short-term gain, but the long-term move would be to reinvest that money and to find a way to get everybody working together and basically having it to where they all pitch in to start their own, if you will, distribution company.
Well, I think the reality is that the consumer is going to start getting tapped out. So
yeah.
And
I'm not sure you're going to see a bunch of creators get together and say, and, you know, and create a distribution company. I just don't.
Well, even if they don't create a distribution company, instead of having, like, as bad as it sounds, instead of having 50 million publishing companies, I mean, come on, how many new publishing companies do we have? Let's get all these small publishers together into one, like, literally one company. Like, have them all basically work. I guess you could say have them all combined into one company that would allow them to be able to get all these books out, but have it to where instead of everyone being a, you know, I guess you could say everyone out for themselves, they're all helping each other, they're all sharing resources and everything, and they're getting it to where they can actually effectively get these books out to the customer for a good price, and when one succeeds, they all succeed. Only downside is when one fails, they all fail.
And that publisher is going to have a distribution model. That's what it's going to come down to.
I think so. I think your shipping, especially for you know, and people potentially could start off small. You know, you get some of these these get a few comic book stores, like one in a big city, and you ship them a box, and then say, okay, they're down at this store. That's going to happen. Stores are going to start. Like Ethan is easily going to be able to get his book distributed
if he does it himself. So this goes back to what I said earlier about how how LCSs, when they sign on to Diamond, it's exclusive. So if they start accepting comics distributed from another distributor, Diamond has the right to pull everything, to close their account.
Well, how long do you think this is going to go on with the way sales are and the overshipment of these books? That's not going to go on forever.
No, but I don't see your typical LCS giving up their deal with Diamond, regardless of who the indie distributor is, because LCSs have become the local game shop, the local card shop, the local, they're the home entertainment store type of a thing. And it costs them, in some cases, it costs them next to nothing to have what Diamond distributes on the shelf, because the shelf space has become so small. So for them to not have DC and Marvel on the shelf, in the eyes of a lot of normies, means that they don't carry comic books.
Well, at the same time, it's one of those like what was said, with the overships and things like that, it's not going to be a long-term sustainable model. So Diamond, and on top of that, Diamond may have the quote-unquote monopoly right now, but how long will that monopoly last? How long will Diamond be able to hold on to that viably before, people just are going, you know what? There's enough of these indie books out there that have formed together and gotten their own distribution company. I don't pull enough from Marvel and DC to viably be able to, at some point, Diamond's going to have to give, and they'll be like, well, you know what? We will let you do, get from them too, and because they know
Diamond will hold that monopoly for as long as they have exclusive contracts with DC and Marvel and Image.
And also, the thing is if another distribution company does come up, we have antitrust, anti-monopoly laws at that point.
And Diamond has already been cleared from that.
Also,
yeah, I'm not sure how they managed to do that.
Because
what are they going to do when another distributor comes up and they say, okay, we're going to take these books. So if you don't want to ship us your books, okay. And it's not going to, they have to be getting numbers on store closings. They have to see that it's not looking good.
Diamond avoided the antitrust laws because they were classified as a publisher. And at the time the lawsuit went through, Diamond was exclusively comics, and publishers included comics, books, newspapers, magazines, and music.
It's interesting. I'm going to actually look that up and read about it, because I was not aware of that.
I forget what the name, I forget what the case name was, but that was, but they were cleared of being a monopoly because of that. But as some people have brought up, we don't have these indie publishers don't have to go to comic book stores. Let's go back to newsstand, or the pharmacy, the 7-Eleven, the Walgreens, the CVS,
Yeah, I think the moment you stop being able to buy comics from a newsstand, that really impacted the sales when it became an exclusive thing.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And it's one of those, when you have a situation like what you have with Diamond and the comics industry as a whole, it's kind of like you present a good idea with the newsstand and CVS, things like that. That's why like for instance the whole comics being DC Comics putting books in Walmart and whatnot, because of the fact that they realize that that's a viable market that they can use, and pulling comic books out of there was a bad idea.
Yes.
And it's one of those like, and I know we keep mentioning it, and I wish I had the money that I could pump into it to make it a reality, but I would love to make a comic book magazine a la, like Wizard, because at that point we could Sport, check your messages, but at that point we could actually do more than just like, and in a way, don't get me wrong, YouTube has replaced what Wizard was, but we could do a lot more with the comic industry. We'd be able to have a voice for not just like, we'd have, I guess you could say, a single source for everything indie. But at the same time, should the big four decide that they want to talk to, us and our, magazine for specifically comic books, they would be able to, but you get the idea. It would allow us the ability to properly promote books in a way that can be put into stores and whatnot, and would be able to reach people effectively.
Well, you know what else I think is going to happen this fall after the elections is I think the Department of Justice is going to go in and pound on these social media platforms.
I think so too. I think an Internet Bill of Rights is going to end up, or something similar. Either that or antitrust laws once again are going to be invoked.
And that's going to branch out past the internet. It's going to go off into other things. And now wait till these guys on the left can't have their protected echo chambers. Oh, they're going to go insane.
Well, the whole point is everyone likes to talk about, since we're basically until how the Russia collusion and things like that, but no one ever they don't like to talk about where the real collusion lied, which was big tech companies on the left that, yeah, you might have had like a Russian bot that reached like 50 people. Want to know how the main Trump voter was reached? And the studies support this. Cable news, newspapers, things like that. That's how your average Trump voter was.
Did you guys hear what happened to James Woods?
Oh, he got banned
suspended from Twitter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they say that he could influence the elections.
Well, yeah, exactly. They don't want.
Yeah, I mean, so what? I mean, anyone can influence the elections.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. They don't want it big. They're failing to realize that the main people that are going to be out voting in, the midterms aren't getting their news from social media. They're getting their news from like the main, like basically newspaper, Fox News, things like that. And on top of that, it's also the youth that are going to go out and vote during the midterms are getting their news from people like Styx Hexenhammer, Tim Pool, Anomaly, Roaming Millennial, things like that, individuals like that. And they're not going to be, looking at people on Twitter, on Facebook. They're not looking at those areas. They're looking on YouTube. They're looking in other areas. And so kicking them off of, for instance, and like the whole bit with kicking Alex Jones off of all these various platforms and everything, and PayPal kicking them off, pretty much just made it to where they are going to even more be out to vote because they've shown what's going to happen.
It's not helping them, that's for sure.
No, it is not. And because I have a thing about not crossing streams, I figure we'll go ahead and call it there because Spork has his stream at 8 his time. I almost forgot about it. Sorry, Spork. I know you're in the audience. My bad. I'm glad you reminded me by pointing that out. So,
absolutely. We'll move over to that one. And then I think Peter Samedi is on Umbrella Guy with Edwin tonight.
Yes, he is.
Yes, so that'll be a good show.
We got for us comics guys, it's a busy night because we got so many fans and YouTubers alike.
And I think Tug is 10 p.m. Eastern. Is that correct?
I I'm not sure. I will fucking give me a second. I will check that out. Because I commented on it earlier, actually. That because I was trying to remember the dude's name. Was talking about how. Yeah, right here. 9 p.m. Eastern. So,
Okay.
basically a couple in an hour as well. I think 2 hours. No, in an hour. In an hour as well.
Well, great. We got plenty to listen to tonight.
Oh yeah. Granted, I'm probably gonna get off of this, quickly grab up a bowl of some potato soup because that shit's tasty, and then immediately hop in Spork Stream because I told him I'd be on with him.
Well, tell him I say hi.
Oh, definitely, Canales.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks for having me on there, Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much.
And
Always glad to have a good Thor-free American Patriot on.
keep fighting them reticuloids.
Every day, all day.
Male vitality.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
Cheers.
Take care, guys.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Oh, no
Later.
problem. Later. Guess catch everyone watching later.